Hello, everybody. This is Preston Poulter here with Pocket Jacks Comics, and we are having a riveting discussion about the function of the tracer in modern comic book production. So, John, he's working with an artist, and it happens. And as Danny was making some extra points, if you're over there on Fiverr getting your Illustrator or whatnot, then the idea of a comic book inker is not something that's going to really well, you probably just won't have even ever heard of this person. And as I was mentioning, there's a funny bit out of Chasing Amy about the fact that comic book inkers get even less respect than comic book writers, which is hard to imagine. But like their job has been swallowed up because back in the old days, that was a distinct job. You had pencils and you had inks, and I forget who the inker was that did a lot of Ditko's work, and people just hated it because he would just ink over whole figures in the background. Like the guy would, like Ditko would draw like this big extensive thing, and the guy would be like, "That's too much work." And just ink over, like whole characters, because But his justification was, "Hey, we're working on a deadline. They wanted the comic done by Monday. Then I'm not going to ink these unnecessary figures. Just screw it. Boom. Just take the brush, and they don't exist anymore."
Yeah, it's
So
wonderful when you do that.
yeah. I mean, we can sit here and throw stones at early Marvel, but I mean, look, as long as we're talking about kind of a wonky process that didn't work, Ditko never looked at the finished book. Ditko would just do the pencils, turn them in, get his check, and go home. And it was years before he finally looked at his work, and mainly because people were like, the inkers like taking figures out and stuff. And Ditko's like, what? Finally, he looks at his book. He's like, oh! And so he actually stopped drawing so much detail after that. Like, it altered the amount of time he was putting in. He's like, well, if they're just going to do that, well, then I'm just going to do that. And that just started, some bad relationships over there at Marvel. Eventually, some people left. But, all right, so John, you're very budget focused, and I understand that. And so you found a guy whose color work you like, and I have to agree, I like the color work. But now that you're like halfway through your book, you're thinking maybe an inker might have been a good addition or something, right?
Yeah. So I guess when I started on this project,
Okay.
I originally thought of my artists as a team, as like I am hiring a group, and I always thought of them as an homogenistic group. I mean,
kind of like how George Lucas supposedly, I don't know if this is really true, but I heard George Lucas hired the original Star Wars cast as a group based on how they auditioned together. Like he would audition them together, and he'd be like, "I like this group. This is a good group. I want this group."
Kind of true, yeah.
Okay.
They did do script readings and stuff like that, but yeah.
So when I mean, like for example, I pay one person.
Right.
What the per page rate is. I don't pay my penciler one rate and my inker or my colorist another rate. I just pay the penciler.
Okay. And then the penciler pays the colorist.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you're giving up a lot of control that way, but
yeah. Yes, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
So, and I hired the penciler because he basically responded to the ad, and the pages that he submitted to the ad were done by this colorist, and I liked the color.
Right.
So I was immediately drawn to the colorist, and not understanding all of the importance of all the roles.
Right.
I hired the penciler. I paid the penciler the rate, and he pays the colorist.
Well, I believe you said that you were going to do Angel of Darkness and not the script you've been polishing for a number of years, Blood Feud, because you wanted to get the first book out of the way. And so this is definitely
This is exactly the reason why I am not doing Blood Feud, because I want. I gotta figure all these things. This is why I knew. I'm like, let's do this one because I like this one, and I'm emotionally connected to it enough that I will see it through the end.
Right.
But I'm also not so emotionally connected that it's like my my pride and joy.
Right.
So, yes. So anyway, so that being said, the other mistake that I made, was giving my. Oh, I've mentioned this a few times in the Discord. My ongoing frustration with, which is partially my fault for not giving my art team a fixed series of deadlines. Like, I expect this in this way.
Right.
And it eventually got to the point where he has still not. I mean, put it another way. So the way our process, instead of him sketching out all 28 pages and sending them to me, and then penciling all 28 pages and then sending them to me, he's where they're quite literally doing it like 3 pages a week. So I'll get sketches, and then he'll start penciling, and then they'll color them, and then while the colorist is coloring 3 pages, he'll be penciling the next 3 pages, and so basically the pages I have now is like all I have. I have no sketches, I have no artwork, I have nothing. I have no pencils for any of the other pages that are not done.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's a very, very.
Did you not stipulate a delivery format like a layered TIFF? It's possible if you go in Photoshop, it might be there.
It is not. They are sending me flattened TIFFs.
How little are you paying these people? Like, is it like
$100 a page?
You can do better. Go on Facebook.
So we're over halfway done.
The problem is that he's over halfway done. But
yeah,
look, if you, it's not like improving the art halfway through the book is going to piss off the audience. If the audience goes from to cool, then they'll be happy. If they go from cool to they'll feel like a little bitter, you know. And like Danny's saying, you can maybe have these guys fix some of the former work. Make a little more consistent.
That's one of my thoughts. And that will probably depend on how I decide to proceed with issue 2. So right now my thought is just get issue 1 done.
Okay.
And then see how things go.
I would say this, okay? Issue 1 is an important issue because it's number 1. All right. It is the issue that people will come and buy if they want to find out about your story. Okay. And if you need to look at issue 1 as the sales vehicle for issues 2 through whatever, right?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Okay.
Yes.
So therefore, I would avoid the temptation of just saying, I want to get this experience done. And I would instead embrace the philosophy of how can I make issue 1 as beautiful as I can at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm with Preston on this one. I mean, if the consequence of cheaping out is a book you can't sell, pay the extra $500 max and get someone to fix it. You know, because you're gonna get more than that in returns by having a saleable product.
It's like exactly the same situation I just went through. So, you know, had to start over, pay an extra $500 I didn't have, but hey, it got done.
Like I think we've all been there.
Yeah,
and for that matter, Larry, I mean, I'm really thinking, if you know, look, I was happy to get Primal Chaos done because that one was a specified budget, and part of the challenge was how cheap can we make a comic book? And I just pulled a figure out of the air, like, can we make a comic book for $2,000? And it turns out we can get.
It's pretty damn close.
It's pretty good for $2,000. You know.
Yeah.
But now going forward, now that you know, because I believe we can crowdfund $5,000 on Primal Chaos #1.
That's what I'm hoping.
And
at
then,
least, anyway.
Yeah, and now you need to go, okay, how can I make issue 2 better?
Yeah.
And I think Samir needs an inker, as long as we're talking about inkers.
Yeah, I know a couple of people who are quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to.
John, I will loan you the money.
Wow.
No, it's not.
All right. Okay.
There we go.
We have a production partner.
No, it's.
I mean, especially if you like show me what's up, like we can have a conversation about this because it's either that or like I bet on fucking AMC. So either way,
there we go. And this way, see, Dan, and this is something I encourage people is, if you can invest in entrepreneurial ventures of people I think you're better off than going on the stock market because there's a risk of loss either way, but. When you're buying stuff off the stock market, what do you really know about that company, that manager, what they're really doing, what their competition is?
You can also put a very discrete stop loss price.
Yes, exactly.
But, I used to run a live events company. I've worked with a lot of my friends, and I've been involved in a lot of projects that have been co-productions. So, yeah, like, if that's what you need to get it over the hump, like, let's have a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
But like, if you're that worried about budget, and if Preston's that confident that you're going to be able to like get 50% of a sensible goal, because like really, if he thinks you can get $5,000 on a $2,500 book plus printing, that means $1,500 profit.
You're getting
but that's Larry's book as opposed to John's book.
Yes.
But John's book, I think, look, John, I could also, if you let me do your crowdfund or I could promote you a bit and co-plaintiff and all, and we can I think you can bring in 5,000 for whatever the name of that book is. Angel of Darkness. There you go. Yeah, Angel of Darkness, 5,000, no problem, right?
God. Yeah. We got like 6,000 US for Coffee House of Doom.
Yeah.
Which is an anthology.
Yeah.
B. Is it done yet?
Right. So
I mean,
John,
it's a sequel.
If I may say, I feel like
they made the production.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not.
Okay.
I guess.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what you're doing. Okay. All right. So, and look, I understand the stress you're under. All right, co-plaintiff, I feel you. Okay, but at the same time, Tony Robbins gave this analogy, and I think it's good, so I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna cite him because it came from him. Why not? But he talked about he was learning to drive real fast cars. Okay, and there's a race instructor, and they take you out on the track. And what's called a spin car, and the instructor would sit in the passenger seat, and he could hit one of four buttons, and that wheel would lift off the ground, and then your car would start to spin, and then it was your job to correct that while and you would be entering these spins at like 150, 200 miles an hour kind of thing, because that can happen if you're racing a car, and you don't want to die. And the instructor was like, okay, so what happens when you're in the spin is you need to look where you want the car to go. Don't look at the wall. If you look at the wall, you're going to steer to the wall. And you don't want to steer to the wall. And so, okay, there's an intellectual understanding. But then when you're going 150 miles an hour and then boom, the car's in a spin, Tony Robbins said, like, I was looking straight at the wall and convinced I was going to die. And the instructor had to grab my head and physically turn it to where I needed to look, to where I needed to steer the car. Okay? So I feel like in this, you are looking at the wall. And the wall is, oh my God, I just paid a bunch of money for a book no one's going to buy. And you want that crash to be as soft and gentle as possible. But I'm saying, don't look at the wall. Look at where you need to be looking, which is, how can I have the most saleable product I can have to make the most money I can make? Right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm following you.
Let's all have a call together later that's not on a public YouTube channel.
Fair enough.
And maybe discuss where you need to be and what we can do to help.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing, which to fix, is that in some of the panels my characters look cross-eyed because their eyes aren't pointed in the right direction.
Yes, that sounds like you need some fixing.
I mean,
so it's like because I started the lettering because I was going to do the lettering myself, And as I'm lettering,
I won't even try that.
The good thing is that I'm actually staring at the pages a lot more intently than I was.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of where I'm noticing all of these little things that I didn't notice before. Like, why is her eye pointed in that direction and in that direction when they should be together?
Right. It sounds like you need some fixing. So, okay.
Yeah, or to get really, really good at photoshopping it so you don't need to ask your illustrator to do it, because that's a thing that happens sometimes on the cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, sounds like there's probably not that much work to do and just a whole lot of tiny notes. So your options are send it back and be like, you need to give me good pages and follow a process. You need to teach your illustrators how to professionalize. And they're probably in like Malaysia somewhere and don't speak English very well. So
as far as I can tell, they are going. We're talking through Google Translate.
So you don't want that.
I did not realize that when I hired him. I realized that when he sent me a message in Portuguese, and I said, "Did you intend to send this message to me?" And he said, "Oops, sorry, I forgot to translate it."
Oops. Yeah, like, if your product is your name on the cover, sadly, it's your job to fix it or your job to lower your expectations. And as the person owning the IP, you shouldn't be doing that last option as a first resort.
Yeah. And look, you also got to remember that book that you recommended to me by your movie-making hero, Roger Corman. Right?
Yeah, but he also did it. He did it by working on the cheap. Like,
yeah, but
remember, one of the most profitable movie deals you can make, and Roger Corman talks about making this exact movie deal, is someone's like, I spent a lot of money and I shot a movie, and now when I looked at the footage, it kind of sucks, and we tried to edit something together, and it's god awful, and I don't know what to do. And Roger Corman talks about this. He's like, I bought a guy's movie for $50,000 because it was just it was unworkable from this guy's point of view. So I bought it for $50,000. And and Corman talks about this. I found if you add in a voiceover narrator that you introduce, like the Crypt Keeper for that matter, boom, and then that narrator can guide you through from one bullshit scene to the next, and boom, now you got a movie you can sell. And wow, I turned a $50,000 investment, and I turned around and sold it for $250,000, and pocketed the difference. See, that's what he could do. Roger Corman could go and say, I see what you did there, and I know what changes need to happen in order to make something you can sell. All right? So you need to kind of do your own Roger Corman autopsy on your own work right here and go, if I were the comic book Roger Corman and I were looking at this, what money would need to be spent in order to make the best product I could sell? And just do that. Because issue 1 is important. Anyway, there we go. Speaking of, let's go to Santa Monica Girls High School. Right, so these are the pages, right? We got Temperance and Harper and Harper.
Yes. This will be the end of issue 2.
Oh wow! Okay, all right.
This will take us to the end of issue 2 of Dragon Warrior. Warrior.
Okay. So the clan's no longer in the story, right?
No.
No. Okay. Tell me how the story went. We had.
Okay, so basically,
the Luck Dragon isn't there anymore.
No.
I'm kind of disappointed. I like that.
I know. No more Luck Dragon versus the Clan.
That was a great story concept, man. If nothing, look, I can just imagine. Over the weekend, I got a text. There's a guy who runs like sports card shows on the cheap, and he knows I'll buy a table. And I got a text yesterday. Like, I'll probably, because I'm not going to Bell County Comic Con. But You know, he's like $100. I'm like, sure. You know, so. And I told him, like, I want to set up my wall of prints. So, you know, I'll set up my wall of prints. And I'm telling you, if I had a print amongst that sea of boobs that was the Luck Dragon versus the Clan, I would sell it. Like, people would go, I want that. Oh, I think it's a good idea. I don't know. But, all right, we got rid of that. And instead, we have Dragon Warrior, who was raised in California, right? Or
yes.
No?
She,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was raised in California.
So, all right.
Okay.
The premise in this current iteration of the story,
yes,
is that a American weapons manufacturer is making weapons for the Nazis.
Of course.
And they are
and in the 1930s.
And just to clarify, Nazis are bad, right?
Yes.
Okay. I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean he's going very Rocketeer kind of.
Rocketeer, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones Nazis. These are Indiana Jones Nazis.
All Nazis are bad.
Well, technically, the Nazis aren't even going to appear in this particular series.
Oh, okay.
They're the distant evil villain on the other end of the telephone.
Okay.
So the primary villain is the owner of the corporation. Right. So I know it's been a while. So in issue 1, so basically, there is a underground secret lab in the high school. So the Army intelligence sends Julia in as a student, undercover student, to kind of investigate what all of the happenings going on at the school. And Temperance is one of the teachers at the school who also works for the evil corporation, and she's kind of in charge of special projects. And there are 3 special projects going on that we haven't quite figured out what they all are yet. But basically, there's 3 special projects going on that are all related to this super weapon that the company is building for the Nazis, which nobody knows what the super weapon is yet. That's like the big surprise. So where we are now in the story is that Julia is trying to sneak into the lab to get more information, and Temperance is...
Because Julia hates the Nazis.
Wow.
She's a spy working for U.S. Army intelligence.
And Nazis are bad.
Okay.
And Nazis are bad.
But the emotional stakes of the story of Julia just independently deciding one day, you know what? The script says I'm supposed to go investigate a lab to find out about secret weapons. Oh, hold on. Let me go do that. I mean, you know, okay.
That was kind...
Yes.
So I'm kind of doing Julia's backstory in which Luck Dragon versus the Clan.
There we go. There we go.
Might come back later.
Okay.
Because what I'm kind of doing is a bit of an arrow thing where in the beginning of the issue we do like a little flashback. That's why like in the beginning of this issue we had that flashback of her as a teenager. And then, as I said, I was thinking in issue 3 I would do a flashback of her earlier. And and then we eventually will go backward until her parents are killed, and that kind of what sets her on her journey, and then basically kind of comes around to how she ended up working for the military.
Right now, in issue 2, Julia just up and decides I'm going to investigate this lab because they're doing bad stuff.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
That's kind of what it is.
Okay. So Julia is kind of like the Karen Dragon Warrior. Dragon Karen. She's like, hold up there, science lab. While I'm not particularly interested in ending Nazi plots, it just seems like a good thing to do, and I think maybe you might be up to no good. I'm going to investigate.
Well, she's a spy. She's like 007. She's sent on a mission. This is her mission.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, that was established. She is working for them.
But,
she is a spy. She's not.
But. Okay.
Okay.
The thing that makes Bond interesting is that there is a conflict in his employer relationship, right? There's always whenever the boss is never happy. Bond will come in and go, check it out, bitches. They were going to blow up the entire world, and I stopped that, and I recovered Fort Knox worth of gold. And the boss will be like, yeah, jackass. And then what's with all the sexual harassment going on? He's like, I don't want to hear about it. See ya. And then, there's a conflict there, right? Whereas I don't know what the conflict is between Julia and her employer. Right? Right. Okay. So, in the absence of a conflict, it's just like, I'm just here kind of doing this thing, because I'm a team player and I'm an agent, and agents are supposed to do this stuff, and okay, cool. But again, now Julia's becoming kind of generic, and it's a very generic-y story, which will be filled in issue 3. There you go. All right, so here we are. And who's narrating? It was the right thing to do.
You can narrate since you don't want to. Since you keep trying to start narrating.
I'm very bossy.
You are very bossy.
Very bossy.
Danny, why don't you do Temperance?
Sure.
She's going to basically be the main the person that does most of the scenes in this part. And Larry, why don't you? I've been having you do Julia, so you can stick with being Julia. And why don't you start with Harper, and then we'll go from there. I forget who else is in this.
Okay, sure.
Interior Santa Monica all-girls high school kitchen night. Temperance holds the telephone to her ear as Dr. Harper enters from the loading dock.
Yes, sir. I'll take care of it.
She hangs up the phone.
Good evening, Miss Dimitrov. I have some ideas that might fix the field compositor issue. Sorry.
Ah, yes.
I trust that you can work without me tonight, Dr. Harper. It appears I am needed elsewhere.
Yes, ma'am. I will keep you apprised.
Where?
What's that in the road? Ahead? All right.
Oh,
Locker room. Julia completes the sliding puzzle lock, pulls the well open. She opens the freight elevator cage's steps inside, closes the wall and cage. She leaps onto the railing, turns the latch, and sliding the trap open. She throws her backpack into the tight space before climbing up. Reaching the ladder, she squeezes her body down the small confined space between the side of the elevator, the ladder. Elevator shaft. First, Julia's backpack appears, dangling from the small space. Julia appears head first, climbing down the ladder. Once clear, she flips around her right side up, her chin and clothing stained with dirt and grease. The darkness of the shaft surrounds her, making it appear bottomless. From her backpack, Julia takes out a lantern, turns it on, bringing forth light. She snaps it to her backpack. Strapping the backpack on, she descends the ladder. Locker room. Dr. Harper approaches the wall, begins the sliding square puzzle lock. Elevator shaft. Julia looks up, hearing the mechanism in the wall. She descends quicker. Elevator pit. Julia drops into the elevator pit. The engine whirs as the elevator begins to descend. Julia throws the cage open, climbing out and slamming the cage closed. Interior electromagnetics laboratory. Julia looks around the dark lab. There's nowhere to hide. She races the other end, frantically looking in the cabinets. Hearing the elevator approach, she shoves the contents forward, crawls into the cabinet, and closes the door. The elevator reaches the ground floor. Harper opens the cage, turning on the lights. Exterior, Santa Monica All-Girls High School. Temperance approaches the black Chrysler Imperial as Grigory Zuyev stands holding the door.
Palmdale.
She gets into the car. Grigory closes the door, gets behind the wheel, drives off. electromagnetic laboratory. Electricity arcs in the Tesla coils. Harper scribbles on the blackboard. Julia peeks out from her hiding spot, aims the camera. Snap. Snap. Harper smiles to himself. He turns to the aluminum archway, adjusting some dials. The blue force field in the archway changes from one shade of blue to another. He stands facing it, reaching out his hands to touch it. His wrist watch begins to vibrate. Stepping back, he picks up a lead pencil. Harper throws the pencil at the blue force field. Upon contact, the wood and rubber shatters, passing through the field as the lead remains suspended in the field. I would go graphite. It's not really lead. Julia snaps pictures. Exterior Orion
I believe
robotic.
it was still lead in the 30s.
Well, you're communicating to an artist or a special effects person in your script. And I would specify that is pencil graphite as opposed to lead, because particularly if this is going to go through some kind of translation stage, it pays to be more specific. Exterior Orion Robotics night. The Chrysler Imperial pulls on the ground of his massive factory. Grigori opens the door for Temperance. She exits, struts towards the doors with Grigori in tow. Interior testing floor. A pilot wears a large mechanical walking construction suit reminiscent of the loaders from the movie Aliens. All right.
Ooh.
All right, sold.
Its hands consisted of massive hydraulic pinchers that open and close. The pinchers pick up a large weight object as scientists document the weight and density. A trick extension cord runs from the back motor to a massive diesel generator on a catwalk above. Dr. Jones observes as Temperance approaches him. Grigori stands several meters behind her.
Miss Dmitriev, I trust you have read my report?
I have. And so has Mr. Orion.
Miss Dr. Jones smiles, getting excited.
Oh, Mr. Bryan has taken notice of me. I am honored.
Temperance points at the mech.
The hell is that?
Jones' expression fades.
Excuse me? It's the mech suit. We had to make some modifications to your original designs, but...
Where are its hands?
Temperance makes pinchers with her hands, picking at Jones while she rants.
Crustaceans have been on this planet for 500 million years, and they're good for nothing but dinner. Homo sapiens became the global alpha predators in a fraction of the time because they have thumbs.
Yeah, I was thinking this too. No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Oh, man.
Sounds like an Aqua song.
Temperance gives Jones 2 thumbs up before stabbing him in the ears with her thumbs.
Ouch.
Jones cries out in pain. Temperance pulls her hands free as Jones drops to his knees. She walks past him down the catwalk.
Rig him.
Grigori grabs Jones by the collar. Definitely no time for love. Testing floor. Temperance crosses the floor with Grigori behind her, dragging Jones as he bleeds from his ears.
Shut it down. Shut it all down.
Women in this script are kind of Karen-y.
What, she wants to talk to his supervisor?
Yeah, she kind of does.
She's the supervisor now. Yeah. I am the supervisor.
Yeah, it's like Karen was the man. You are so written up, Mr. Brad. You are. Crustaceans have been around for millions, you know. I can just imagine, like, all right. One of the scientists turns off the diesel generator, which causes the neck suit to cease functioning. I mean, look, how can he not be fucking happy with that contraption in the 1930s? I don't
really, though, yeah.
Temperance is impossible, please, at this point. It's just like acne special doohickey, and she's like wiping her ass on the thing. Like, all right, whatever. You know? The scientists gather around her.
Apparently, you people have forgot that we are here in doing God's work, not taking it back 500 million years.
Like, you need my haircut is over on the side.
Please, yeah. Oh, man.
Grigori shoves Jones onto his knees. He stands behind him, gripping his throat with one hand, reducing his oxygen flow, and outstretches his left arm.
Let's get back to some biology basics, shall we? There are 27 bones in the human hand. Combined together with ligaments.
Grigori twists Jones' arm, forcing his hand open.
They are very good at grasping things. Not about how much strength the fist can hold, it's about what it holds.
Temperance walks up to him.
But we want to improve on this.
Temperance grabs one of Jones' figures.
We want to bend them in all directions.
Temperance pulls his finger back, breaking the bones. The scientist recoils at Jones' speech, but remains frozen in fear.
Most importantly, needs a goddamn thumb.
Temperance pulls Jones' thumb back, breaking. The scientists recoil again.
Those design specs, you eggheads are supposed to make it a reality. Now get to work.
The scientists disperse, going back to their schematics.
Wow.
Grigori, please take out the garbage.
Grigori twists Jones' head one way, then hard the other way, breaking his neck. He picks him up and... So who is she making that demonstration to? Clearly not Dr. Jones.
No, all the other scientists in the room.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. You know what? You should add a couple of... As they watch one of their compatriots be killed, one of them might have an emotion, possibly.
No
Maybe.
emotion.
Oh my God, no!
The emotion is they remain frozen in fear.
How convenient.
They are literally scared of the
I don't want one of these scientists to scream out, "What the fuck, Karen?" That's the goddamn design we came up with. This bitch cannot be pleased. I want to see your design work, bitch.
It is her design. Are you not paying attention?
Yeah.
Then how were they not able... Anyway, whatever. Anyway.
They modified what they built based on her design.
Okay.
Which is not what the boss wanted.
She did a Snyder-esque neck break to Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
Walking to a large furnace, he throws Jones inside.
Well, goodbye.
All right. Temperance notices all the scientists watching. This is your scientist. This is your scientist not implementing my design.
Yeah.
Any questions? There we go. All right.
Oh, jeez.
They turn away, going back to their work, emotionless. Exterior Los Angeles skyline sunrise. The sun rises over the city. Exterior, electromagnetics lab. Dr. Harper shuts off the lights, getting into the freight elevator, closes the cage, and ascends. Julia climbs from her hiding spot. Interior Santa Monica all-girls high school locker room. Oh boy. Julia showers, letting the warm water wash the dirt and grease off her body. Good girl. All right. Later, Julia dresses in clean clothes as several girls, including Megan, enter. Ooh, I like where this is going.
Hey, Julia, don't tell me you slept here all night.
Julia smiles.
No.
Her stomach growls.
They don't feed you at the consulate house? I thought they treated you like royalty.
I am not royalty.
Megan takes a candy bar from her bag.
Here, should hold you till lunch.
What if you get
What if you get hungry? Yeah.
There we go.
I've got
a little question mark that.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a statement, you know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you get hungry? Yeah.
I've got plenty. My dad makes me carry extra food in case the big one hits and I'm stuck here for days. He's a cop, so he's always got to be prepared for anything.
1930s preppers. Julia takes the candy bar.
Thank you.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Nothing.
You want to come over to my house? We live right off the beach, and my dad usually barbecues on a fire pit.
Sure.
Interior Orion Mansion dining room. Night. A massive dining room table sits in the center of the dining room. Only 4. You know what? I think you could just go sits in the center of the room, since you already told me dining room.
Oh.
Only 4 people sit at the table. Orion. A massive dining table at which 4 people sit. All right. Orion at the head, Alice to his right, Temperance to his left, and at the foot, Dania Dimitrov Orion, Malcolm's wife, Temperance's birth mother, Alice's stepmother. Yeah. Orion reads the mail. Temperance reviews the mathematical documents. Alice stares at her plate in silence. Nadia reads a fashion magazine. Servants serve dinner.
Palmdale is back on track.
Larry, why don't you do Orion?
Sure. Excellent. I knew you were the right person for the job.
Harper is on track. I expect to have the prototype by month's end.
That just leaves... that's okay. Yes, then that just leaves Dr. Meyer's team.
I will take leave from school and see to its completion.
Orion looks at Temperance, smiles.
That was your father's project.
Temperance looks up at him.
I will see it done.
Good girl.
Wow.
Alice looks up at Ryan. Rage fills her eyes as she watches how Orion looks at Temperance. Interior, Orion's bedroom. Night. Orion and Nadia.
Wow.
Alice slowly creeps into the room. Okay. She approaches the bed. On the side table are Orion's keys. She looks through them, finds the one she wants, takes some putty, and makes a mold of the key. Interior, Santa Monica Beach day. Julia cooks some burgers, corn cobs, large mushrooms, and squash on a grill over a fire pit. He looks up at Megan and Julia. He looks up as Megan and Julia are playing frisbee down by the water.
Danny, why don't you do Jacob?
Girls, food's ready.
Megan and Julia walk up to them.
Megan told me you don't eat meat, so I got some veggies down at the farmer's market and grilled them up.
Julia. Yeah. Jacob stares at Julia.
It smells delicious.
You look kind of familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?
Julia brushes her hair back, smiles.
I don't think so.
Interior, Orion weapons testing facility. Alice lets herself in with a plaster key. She walks up to a large crate, opening it. She takes out one of the compound's bows. Exterior, Orion mansion backyard. Alice draws an arrow back, letting it loose. A target 90 meters away has Julia's school photo attached to it. The arrow strikes Julia between the eyes. Take that. Interior, Alice's bedroom. Alice zips up a red and white checkered skirt, white thigh-high socks bearing the O'Reilly family crest. Kneeling down, she laces up knee-high red leather combat boots. Alice laces up a red corset, straps white leather archery glove and arm guards in place. She pulls her hair back, tying it in place with a white leather band. Lastly, she picks up a white leather quiver. She is a leather woman. She picks a bow, snaps it open, turns, examining herself in the mirror. Rage and hate burn in. But we got an emotion out of Alice. Alice is very, very upset. Alice is out for blood. To be continued. All right. Is Alice the Dragon Warrior, right?
No, Julia is.
Who's Alice?
I can't remember who Alice is.
Alice is the bully from school.
Oh, okay.
That in the beginning of issue 2, Julia stood up against.
So she goes and gets a compound bow and
wait.
Has archery gear to take.
No,
she becomes
that's a rather extreme reaction to getting stood up.
She becomes fucking Hawkeye.
Okay,
so I like it though. It's like
Thank you, Larry. At least somebody figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your script has people taking inappropriate action to the stimuli. In every scene, it'll be like, "Here's the stimuli," and your character's like,
"It's like a stripper archer." There we go. Yeah. I like. Okay. Well, it's a good aesthetic. It'll make a nice cover, but whatever. So yeah. There
They'll
we go.
sell copies.
That's right. Yeah. That's what you want to do. So.
I mean, really, you want them to buy copies and then also buy copies again later.
Yeah, exactly.
That's even better.
Well, I mean, I've seen worse. Yeah.
First, buy the first. First, have to buy the first book. Then, get them to buy the second book.
Yeah.
That's actually much harder, but you do want them to do it.
Okay, so Alice. Yeah, all right. So we have Alice. We have Temperance, whose name seems a bit ironic, I might add. We have an ironic Temperance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Julia. And each of them is out to out mean girl the other two in their bizarre high school rivalry. So there you go. All right, Larry, what do we think?
There's definitely some interesting plotting going on. I do like the secret projects thing. I like mechs, so that's pretty cool. I'm getting the real Metal Gear vibe from the whole thing. So, because it has silly story aspects, but it also has the spy stuff in it, and it has giant robots. And anyway, yeah. So that's my positives.
All right, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone with a speaking role seems to have an important part in the story.
Yes.
It is not that crazy. There's a giant enemy crab.
Giant enemy crab.
And we're missing the best part, honestly.
Oh yeah, the shower scene. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And the shower scene that's only as good as your illustrator.
Yes,
that's true.
That's why good art is good.
And also an aliens loader. So
yeah.
Well,
there you go.
It's the aliens crab loader.
Beach barbecue.
Yeah. Beach barbecue, frisbees, shower scenes, school uniforms, leather, stripper, archers.
I'm sold.
It's all good. Yeah.
I'm sold.
Done.
All right. Done. Sign me up.
Person has low standards and low expectations.
I keep lowering them. The more I encounter people, the more
high standards and low expectations. It's a good problem.
Yeah. Wow. All right. In terms of constructives, I would like there to be more conflict people get emotional over. Like if we look at, like, for instance, the Temperance torture scene, there's not really any conflict in that scene. It's just Temperance dominates everything, and she's like, listen, you stupid idiot, you don't understand how hands work. And she goes on for, like, a couple of scenes, a couple of pages, basically just going off on the guy until Dr. Jones is thrown into the incinerator. And nobody says shit to Temperance. Everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Hey, Larry, look at that. Our coworker's gonna get killed and thrown in the incinerator. Oh, that's cool. I don't need it. Yeah. I told you the hands were a sticking point.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that the on-site staff incinerator isn't OSHA approved.
We got
Does OSHA even exist in the 1930s?
Yeah.
I want to say that it probably didn't.
Right.
I just want somebody to turn to the other person and say, fuck, I knew we should have put a thumb on that fucking thing. It's just like, that's all we needed was a thumb. It's like,
if you would have put a thumb on this bitch, Dr. Jones is still being alive, you asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, like that's just an example of a scene that is lacking a meaningful conflict.
Yeah.
Like for instance, for instance, if you told that scene not from the point of view of Temperance, but from the point of view of Bob and Sally Scientist, who were sitting there reacting to the death of their comrade as Temperance is fucking like going crazy on hands, the scene becomes more interesting in my opinion.
At least have somebody piss themselves or something.
Yeah.
Like like if they're too scared to talk or whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, Dr. Jones is supposed to be their supervisor.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's like
okay.
It's like, and so Orion is like the head of the business, and Temperance is like
I don't need plot justifications. I'm explaining that from an emotional standpoint, this scene does not have conflict, or at least not an emotionally interesting one, unless unless it's pure torture porn, and unless it's just it's interesting because Dr. Jones gets tortured and killed.
I mean, if it's porn, she should at least be wearing something better. But anyway,
we made the scene better already.
Yeah, like
if Dr.
leather
Jones is like, if you're going to torture and kill me, could you take your shirt off first?
Yeah. Or put something really tight on.
Yeah, here we go. Second.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, or like I told him
he was an he never gave me cake on my birthday.
Exactly. And Alice's over the top thing is, I mean, to me, like I don't think that's a one worthy of like ending the issue on, because like some people going, who the hell's Alice? And when we do think of it, like that's kind of a crazy overreaction. I think we're more interested in what happened to poor Dr. Jones, and
Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't be so out there if we did it, closer together or whatever. But still, I get what you're saying, though.
What do you mean
I forgot.
Together?
Well, the pages week to week, we tend to forget things, right? So yeah.
Well, Alice has been around since issue 1.
That's what I mean.
She was the one that was bullying Julia.
That was like 2 months ago. So
right, I understand.
Yeah.
And then in the beginning,
but I mean, you got to keep in mind, your readers are going to be, temporally separated from issue 1 when they're finishing issue 2 and going, huh? So that's Alice there in that archery garb. What did she do?
So in the beginning, in the first half of issue 2, Alice and Julia went at it.
Okay.
And Julia stood up to her and basically dethroned her.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
She got her dad
ninja kicked or something.
She got her dad called. And remember, he called the school and basically berated her.
Yeah.
So she's going from being berated by her father to all of a sudden seeing her father giving her stepsister what she feels should be is due her.
Fair enough.
That's her emotional motivation, and Julia becomes the focus of her hate.
All right, Larry, what do you think? Did you have any constructive notes?
I think you covered most of it.
Okay, Danny.
So what exactly is the villain's evil master plan? And why doesn't the audience know about it yet? And why did you ignore this opportunity to explain to them what it is in the context of the giant enemy crab loader?
It's robots with hands.
There you go.
Robots with hands isn't the plan, it's an object.
It can't go Sig Heil.
Well,
with the
we got there. There we go. That's it. Yeah.
Like, guys, I know we're Russian, but Hitler needs these robots with hands.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. It's the 1930s. Maybe they're counter-revolutionaries and, Russian aristocrats or whatever. There's a terrible but, non-zero argument for this. Why does the giant enemy crab robot need 5 fingers? Why is it so important it has 5 fingers, aside from the fact that the scientists ignored the brief? And why does the audience or Julia give a flying fuck about any of this?
At least 4 fingers to give the middle finger. That's my guess. It's like
So that's something I thought was a little bit absent, was just, integrating the action into whatever the plot is.
It's something to do with electromagnets or something like that. But anyway, I think that was
also crab hands.
Yeah, and crab hands. Well, maybe the crab hands pick up the electromagnets and throw them at people.
Maybe.
And she killed someone over that?
I guess so.
Yeah. Tortured and killed.
She is you know.
I mean, like, and also, why is anyone still working for her after seeing that?
She's the manager.
Like, oh, okay, that's good. Boy, the manager got pissed.
Well, there is kind of a depression going on.
I don't think it's that bad a depression. I think if I'm going to take my.
I mean, I'd be depressed if I had to go to a place where people were murdered in front of me.
Oh, no.
I know capitalism is rough and times are hard, but still, I think they could leave the job and go, you know what?
Yeah.
I'd rather be on the dole. Thank you.
Oh, God. I'm pretty sure in the 1930s they needed scientists everywhere, but, you know, I could be wrong.
The field demands crap. All right.
Oh my god.
I just need to make this a comedy and it'll be fine.
No, it would be fine. It would be. I don't know. I get your
if
point.
You're out there. I need a co-writer. Call me.
I tried, man. He hates me. No, what did I do to poor Moldy? I don't know. Oh well.
I'm staying out of that.
All right. Are we ready for Cygnus Imperium?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Share some stuff.
Yeah, so this is issue 3. Issue
Awesome.
2 is in the can already.
Yes.
I just finished lettering it the other week.
So good.
There is art. I have randomly posted a bit of it on the board way back. The robot definitely punches spaceships.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do.
Like you do. So to catch you all up, in issue 1, our heroes get shot down by the evil empire, land on a deserted planet, and meet the former emperor, whose farm turns into a giant robot that can punch spaceships. In issue 2, they build up the robot, figure out what it can do, get attacked by space pirates, and punch some more spaceships. We also learn why our former emperor abdicated his throne, mostly because everyone else is a huge asshole. It's very funny. He has lots of exciting villain speeches because villain protagonists are fun to write. Sorry?
Indeed.
They are. It is a great thing when you can write villain speeches for your protagonist. So that's pretty much caught us up. And now, the actual story has to happen.
Yes.
So it took you 3 issues to get to the actual story?
Well, I mean, the actual story has been happening the whole time. Now we're not introducing anything and we're getting on with it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So they've been, our good guys have been carrying a treaty that needs to be countersigned by their own government, and they're on the way home. In fact, they've just teleported to around their home. So, Larry, why don't you mangle every other word while reading it? And we'll have Preston and John do stuff, and I will jump in as well with some lines, but might also be taking notes.
All right.
Since my illustrator already has an earlier draft of this.
Okay. All right. Paradox Road, page 1. Panel 1, exterior, the void, Tezos planet space. The Paradox has just completed its jump into orbit around Tezos.
Oh, yeah.
We get our first glimpse of the mercantile planet? I'm not
Mercantile.
Sure
Mercantile.
Mercantile.
He's got to explain it to you right there.
Yeah, that's fine. It's Earth-like, with 4 major land masses and 2 moons. The poles are not as cold as Earth's. If any land masses are there, there's enough green visible to suggest they can sustain life. Large cities have enough lights to be visible from orbit and are connected by major road networks. And the largest on each continent is integrate it with spaceports. Many small trading vessels are traveling in and out of orbit, and some communication satellites may well be visible from this position.
Ignore that next paragraph because I forgot to delete it. Derp, 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 derp. Yeah, go for it.
Larry.
Okay. Caption computer readout. Planet Space, Tezos 3, 463 AIF.
So, Preston, why don't you be Thorn, and John, you can be air traffic.
Tezos High Command, this is Hawthorne Erickson of the Rhinoceros. Request permission to enter orbit.
Copy, Rhinoceros. Had a good trip?
Rain the whole time. Could have been worse.
Welcome home, Captain Erickson. Clearance granted for facility spaceport. Stand by for routing.
Panel 2, exterior Felicity Spaceport Day. Paradox has landed in kneeling position in a private dock at Felicity Spaceport. This is a private spaceport.
That's another way of saying it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. This is a private spaceport reserved for diplomats, situated very close to Felicity's Hall, the governor's main office. It is a rainy day. A squad of 7 well-armed Tzenian soldiers and sergeant surrounds the mech, weapons drawn. Why, guards? That's not the ship they thought it was.
Sorry, I have a bunch of notes to myself in this. I'm slowly deleting and are helping my illustrator, whose first language is not English.
Oh, that's fine. Caption locator. Felicity Spaceport. Title card. Page 2. Panel 1. Exterior Felicity Spaceport. The crew, Thorn in front, and then Eric, Calamity, Ravana, and Ego are walking around with their hands up in the surrender. This time, Thorn, Eric, and Calamity are the ones most obviously showing off their ID cards.
Hawthorne Erickson, Calypso Diplomatic Corps.
All right, Contos, and we'll have John B. Calamity.
Calamity Harris.
Panel 2 profile. The Tzenians have already passed by. The sergeant scans Ravana's ID card.
Preston, you want to be the sergeant?
Jason Ravenna Cygnus Excelsior. Ravana? Really?
It was a trendy name once, believe it or not.
Not. But you scan clean. Move along.
Panel 3. Inside a hangar somewhere nearby. It's kind of dark. There's a vizier dealing with a huge pile of paperwork on his mobile floating desk. Behind him, Governor sits on a portable throne.
Name and business?
Hawthorne Erickson, urgent message for Governor Sora.
Panel 4, match cut. The crew of the Paradox wait awkwardly. Panel 5, match cut. The crew of the Paradox continue to wait awkwardly.
Without John B. Sora.
Let them pass.
The governor will receive you now.
Page 3, panel 1. Thorn, etc. kneel before the governor.
Governor Sora, as requested, I was able to negotiate the treaty with the United Workers of Calypso. All that remains is to ratify it.
Excellent work, Thorn, as always. And what of the Rhinoceros?
Destroyed by Argent's protractors.
They were going to bisect a curve?
Protected. I know, I was like, protected. No, protected. There we go.
Okay.
They continue to expand beyond the borders of ducal void space. That's what it says, ducal void space. Right.
No.
The void space of the Duchy of the Guardian.
There we go, all right.
An excellent time to resist him. While his attention is spread broadly, he might not notice the actions of a few small trading and resource colonies.
Panel 2, Thorn hands Sora the data crystal.
And the treaty?
Here, we must hurry, Governor Sora. Our window of opportunity exists only while Argent believes us too weak to resist.
Panel
Governor
3.
Governor should be capitalized there. It's
I'll
the
go.
title.
I'll let it slide.
It is a title,
yes. Panel 3. Governor Sora takes the data crystal. Yeah.
I'll do what I can. If a labor action is forthcoming, Argent will be forced to direct his fleet to Calypso. Surely you don't need to be reminded of the last Cygnus police action in Tesian soil?
Page 4, 20 years ago. Exterior, Tezos residential district. Day, young Thorn, teenager, leaves the house to go off with young Nyx on a date. Caption, 443 AIF, 20 years ago.
John, why don't you be next?
I thought it was girls who took forever to dress. Good to know things don't change in the future.
That's right.
Right?
Thanks, Nix. You'll understand when you see the restaurant. Gender binary reinforcing.
Panel 2, exterior, Tezos residential district. Night, Thorn and Nyx return to the building holding hands, but it's exploded. It's completely destroyed. Imperium protectors guard the building, including a small mech.
Lots of mechs.
Lots of mechs.
What's wrong with mechs? This is a mech project.
I like mechs. Mechs are good.
Oh no! What happened?
Panel 3. Thorn rushes towards the building, past a protector. We can see a hand sticking out of the rubble, grasping a red cloth.
Mom! Dad! No!
Oh no. Panel 4. The protector drags Thorn away from the rubble. Thorn holds on desperately to the cloth.
Sorry, kid. This area is too dangerous. Scram before I arrest you.
Scram.
Scram.
You need to scram.
Well, at least he was upset about his parents anyway, so yeah. Page 5, panel 1. Nyx grabs Thorn's hand and starts running away with him while he still looks back at the rubble.
Not now, Thorn. We'll get them back for this.
Panel 2, Tezos back alley night. It's raining. Thorn and Nyx are slumped against the wall in the doorway in a filthy back alley, taking a little shelter from the awning above them. Sorry.
That's also a word.
Yes, it is.
Hold on. Sorry. Pause. Hold on. I was just... Alright. Where were we?
Pose.
Your line.
I'm right here. Protectors. Yeah. Ha! I can't support anyone who treats civilians like that.
Panel 3. Thorn ties cloth on his forehead as a headband.
I swear on the memory of my father, I will never let anyone suffer from protector rule ever again.
Panel 4. Nyx hugs Thorn.
I believe in you, Hawthorne. We can make a quadrant a better place together.
Dun, dun.
Hell yeah.
Page 6. 20 years ago.
Now let's go get a room.
Yeah.
Right?
Panel 1 exterior. Protector refugee camp outskirts day. Young Calamity and young Eric are entering the woods on the outskirts of a refugee camp. Eric is now carrying a bow and a quiver of arrows. Caption 8 months later.
So how about we have John B. Calamity and Preston B. Eric, because I'm going to take notes.
All right.
Fair question.
You sure you can use those things?
Just as sure as I am that I won't need to if you keep crashing through the underbrush like an Oliphant.
Oliphant. Yeah. And then Eric realized he forgot his leather costume and he had to go back and change. But anyway, this is like panel 2, exterior forest day. Calamity hides behind a tree while Eric uses her bow and arrow to take aim at an alien squirrel or rabbit. Yeah. Calamity and Eric are sitting around a small fire while they cook the rabbit. It's a rabbit. It's getting dark. Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to build something to protect our people. There's no reason any of us should be suffering like this in a galaxy so large.
When I grow up, I want to fight to protect our people from this horrible treatment. They can't stay planet-side forever.
No, they can't. Good thing there was enough rabbit to bring back. Sheobane and Mom are going to love it.
Clearly, editing was needed before I gave this anybody.
Panel 3. Exterior forest night. Eric and Calamity are crossing a small river by hopping on rocks. It is dark. They are using flashlights to see the way. It started raining.
That's what you call it. It's a squirrel and a rabbit. It's a squirrel bit.
Yeah, scrub it, yeah. Like a cabbit, but yeah. Anyway.
Squirrel bit.
Yeah.
Come on! Calamity this way gets us home and out of the rain faster!
Basta.
Sure looks dangerous, Eric.
Dangerous!
Sure looks dangerous!
Dangerous!
There we go. Otherwise, you're not getting any...
Yeah. It's bold. Come on now. Panel 4, Eric hops onto the opposite bank. Panel 5, Eric slips onto mud. Panel 6, Eric falls through the earth. Okay. Yeah.
Whoa.
Eric!
AM. Page 7. Oh, underground bunker night. Nice. Calamity point of view. Eric fell through the rotten ceiling of an underground bunker of some kind. There's a dead man wearing an unrecognizable military clothes with Argent's logo, but from like 200 years ago, not current style. We can see because both A and C and B are using flashlights. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
What's all this?
Ow, looks like a bunker. Or a hunting blind.
Look, that dead guy. It's Argent's coat of arms. That uniform is ancient.
Yes. Panel 2, focus on the dead guy. He's got Eric's goggles, a laser pistol, and he's lying beside Calamity's backpack. It's unclear what killed him, but there are rips and tears in his uniform, so it was probably a wild beast of some kind.
It's good that the artist knows.
Yeah.
What do you think happened?
Look at those rips. Maybe carnivores got him?
Carnivores? What?
There you go.
Carnivores.
I am bad as a eating alien creature.
That's like a boar. That's a carnivore.
Carnivore. Aren't they already omnivores?
Boar. You know how badass boars are?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Those things will F you up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably serves him right. If he was with Argent, I guess his protectors have been pressing us for a really long time.
Damn. Panel 3. Eric put the goggles on, and she's holding the dead man's pistol in her hand. Calamity's looking on in shock.
Hey, Calamity, how do I look?
What are you doing, Eric? He's dead.
Exactly. He's not using this stuff. This gun still has some charge left. And these goggles, I can see in the dark. I can see everything.
Oh, I'm disappointed. No bolds. Yeah. Panel 4. Eric hands Calamity the backpack.
I can see everything, Calamity.
So, how long?
All right. Eric hands Calamity the backpack.
But how long
Calamity.
does the power cell and the goggles last? That's what I want.
A long ass time, apparently, because it was 200 years ago.
200 years.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, they build stuff like that now, so yeah. Eric hands Calamity the backpack. Calamity still looks shocked by the turn of events.
Here, take this. There's probably a ton of useful supplies in there.
But.
Just do it! How are you going to build anything if you don't take a chance now and then, huh?
All right.
Panel 5. Calamity crouches behind Eric, backpack on, holding on to her backpack because the lights are off. Eric has her goggles on, and she's pushing open a trapdoor in the wall of the bunker.
Just hold on tight and follow me. If we can get back to the camp tonight, nobody is going to confiscate our stuff. You good?
I'm good. Let's do it.
Right. Page 8. Panel 1, Felicity City Market Street Day. Eric and Calamity are shopping with Ravana and Ago at the huge open-air market. Lots of exciting goods are on display, and the location is full of people.
Enclave leather pillows protect your joints and neck during any sort of hygiene maneuver. Get it for your land speeder. Use it in your spaceship.
Fresh off the assembly line into your child's hands, the limited edition Abdication Day Ravana action figure with pre-recorded voice is the perfect aid to an education in galactic civics.
Nice.
Come on! There's so much to see. And only a couple hours before Thorn returns from the council meeting.
Panel 2, they're just leaving. They're just leaving a drinks vendor holding their cool beverages.
Energy drinks made from the finest Sulian turnip puree. Increase your vigor today.
You say it, brother.
Panel 3. They're in front of a costume shop advertising clothes for Abdication Day Festival. The costumes look kind of weird clothes we saw in issue 2 flashback. Eric and Calamity are standing away from the shop, holding their drinks and laughing joyfully. Ravana is talking to the merchant.
Anyone ever tell you your mustache looks like Ravana's?
All the time, pal.
It's nice to see Felicity City so busy. We're finally getting a chance to make it on our own, and I can't help but enjoy seeing so many smiles.
After so much time away, all this joy and peace reminds me of why we joined up. I know the defense grid will keep everyone safe if Argent attacks again.
If the way things are going, you must mean when. He's not going to like it if the treaty gets ratified.
And I'm killing that other Calamity line because that's duplicated.
Panel 4, they're passing by a food truck, Carnivore Carnival. A woman in a cloak, it's Snitch from issue 2, but we can't see that yet, is stepping up to order a sausage.
All right.
Yeah.
Fresh carnivore sausages. Get them while they're hot.
Auric, Calamity, pack up and return to spaceport. Now! Bring our guests.
Panel 5, Eric, Calamity, and Ravana and Ego run to the spaceship towards the camera.
All right, Captain.
There we go.
All right.
Apologies for the roughness, and I will mention before Preston gives me the fucking note. This was actually mostly before I was on the writer's room at all and learned not to bullshit.
Okay.
Okay.
You can bullshit if you want to bullshit.
Whatever. It works.
So, yeah.
Makes for interesting reading.
Yeah.
I'm just, like,
I give the
screaming
emphasis to the different words. All right, so we have Thorn, and we have Calamity, and we have Auric, and Auric and Thorn. I mean, I was reading both of them. They seem like they both are like authority figures, kind of oriented towards the team that's on the ship. I'm guessing.
So Thorn's the leader. Auric is like the exuberant, murderous sniper. Okay. And Calamity is the very serious engineer type.
But this is like the Star Trek away team kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're down planet side. They run into some hostile animals. They find some cool tech, some goggles that allow him to see everything, which is awesome. And
I can see right through your armor.
There you go. Yeah. All right, Larry. What do you think?
Yeah, it was good to have a little world building story after a couple issues, because I think your first 2 issues were fairly, action packed, chasey, lots of explosion type things, and it's good to like step back and learn a little bit more about the characters when you get a little bit deeper into the issues. So I think that's a really good step, and it seems very well paced and well written, and I am actually kind of interested to see what happens next. So yeah.
All right, John.
Yeah, I the first part, well, not the first part, but the camping part, there were some flashbacks in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of flashbacks.
So you might recall, and I know this was ages ago, issue 2 had like a big like what happened when Ravana like abdicated the throne flashback. So this is like, okay, well here's our actual other protagonist, and like let's do the world building now.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
So the flashback stuff was really cool. I thought it was really cool to kind of see these characters, I guess before they all found each other and became the, galactic heroes that they are. So that was always that's kind of cool. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting interstellar political stuff, and so that was kind of interesting.
Stan?
Yeah. Well, all right. So
I did have people with emotional reactions.
That's true.
No,
I made a point of that.
yeah,
So
no,
it's
good.
yeah.
I mean, we have emoting going on. We have the away team. They're building towards some stuff. There was did somebody die?
Well, his parents were killed there.
Oh, that's right. His parents
off
were
screen,
killed.
but
off-screen.
he did emote it. He did emote it.
We had a revelation of an off-screen death. Okay. I mean, no glaring errors. I don't think. It's fine. It's definitely passable. I would look to how it can. Right now I feel like the plot hasn't happened yet. Like we don't really know what is driving the meaningful conflict. The where I'm really going to be like, oh wow, well I sure hope that doesn't happen. So I'm waiting for that.
Fair.
Yeah. Any other constructive notes, John, Larry?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, not
All
really.
right. Okay, fair enough. There you go.
Yeah. Probably not super helpful, but
Really helpful.
I mean,
Larry, if you end up getting bored, hit me up on a PM, and I can send you the first 2 issues with finished art for a beta read.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more script by a guy who's not actually going to be here.
Uh-oh.
So
that means
we
you
don't-
can tear him a new one. So
all right,
no script if you're not here.
and it's only 3 pages, so it's
that's fine.
pretty short.
Let's check it out anyway.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Hey, it's short. I love it already.
Exactly.
There's like 15 characters in it though, so.
All right, I'll just read through. Comic draft, page 1. Top of page should read Saigon, South Vietnam, 1969. Panel 1 should be some sort of larger overlooking shot of a busy main street. Setting should be the city of Saigon in the late 1960s. Which still under Viet government and the United States. Yeah.
Should be or is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Is it
feel
like-
much better about my wishy-washy just because we just scrolled a rabbit.
Is it like?
I remember reading like John's initial pages when he came on the writer's stream of like. So I feel like you're just kind of like suggesting the story, and the penciler can just do whatever the hell he wants.
I mean,
he's like, you could draw this, or maybe not.
I get what he's saying. Like he's saying this should be this, but he just should say like,
It is
Saigon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy
Right.
street.
Say what it is.
Not
say
late
what it-
1960s.
maybe, yeah,
Done.
yeah,
You know, like
The streets of Saigon, late 1960s.
Okay.
Side shot of face.
Yeah,
Diana is focusing on the lips as she lights a cigarette from them. Flick from the lighter. Panel 3 shot from behind as if viewed from the street. The woman Diana is facing away as she leans against the side of the hood of a Ford Taurus 12 MP4, blue in color, and most likely one of the cars imported from the foreign markets. Okay, well, we're very specific on that. Other cars might be
unless there's a Ford plant in South Vietnam, I would assume it's imported.
Oh, wait.
Well,
You're free to come on, by the way, Dakota.
Yeah.
Like, there's a link in the for the writer stream in the Discord.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun to skewer you in person.
Other cars might be older by a decade or more, or military. So, show of wealth, position, or status. The woman is wearing, by the way, I'm noticing a fair number of passives, particularly gifts. Instead of the woman is wearing, the woman wears what appears to be a military outfit from the waist up, close-fitting with sleeves rolled up. Dark brown hair should be tied in a bun to look the part. A khaki strap across her body to a canvas satchel.
It takes this long for a Pepsi.
Yeah.
What's taking him?
Full body shot of Diana exhaling as she pulls the cigarette away from her. A curvaceous woman of a subtle tan skin denoting Hispanic origin, still leaning alongside the car. It is obvious she wears form-fitting clothing of a military reporter. Press. Do military reporters wear form-fitting clothing? Is that
I guess so now, yeah.
I guess so, okay.
I mean, how better to show her tits?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You're not going to see them in a flak jacket, that's for sure, which is what a military reporter would be wearing.
Yeah.
Press written.
Oh, right.
like
I like where this is going.
Across the right breast pocket. Yes, there we go.
No, the next line is where
it gets even better.
Buttons are undone enough to show the trucks of her breasts. Yes, now we're to the meat of the story. The khaki strap is too small, or is to a small satchel at her side. Her shoes are unilateral style, black in color.
Utilitarian, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
She looks.
That's a word that Larry knows.
There we go.
Is,
Give him credit, Preston.
Okay, yeah, she looks primarily like a war correspondent. All right, someone read Diana.
It takes this long for a Pepsi. What's taking him?
Page 2. Shot of a Vietnamese man from a dynamic angle being flung out of a window over the store in front of her. Vietnamese man Phong is wearing simple summer clothing.
Wow, we get a matching paragraph for what she wears, and he gets 5 words.
These moves are not nearly as interesting.
No.
Not.
Oh my god.
Is this the problem with modern comics?
It could be, yeah. I'm not going to deny that this isn't a problem, but
she boobled down the stairs. Her breasts leading the way. Page 2, good shot of Diana looking down with a rather surprised expression on her face and demeanor, reacting in shock.
What the hell?
All right, Simpson, what do we think so far? How we doing? Okay. Panel 3, brown-haired man, green, wearing a Hawaiian shirt and khakis, is seen nursing his head as he stumbles down the steps of the store.
Diana, grab that bastard.
Panel 4, Fong has a revolver drawn, some sort of cheap .38 revolver, aiming towards the reader, a look of anger and terror bleeding from the scalp and looking panicked.
All right.
American Cow? What?
All right, American Cow.
Yeah.
Panel 5, small panel close-up, a trigger being pulled from a side angle. It jams. Click, click, click. Panel 6, Diana ducks under a revolver being thrown right over her head.
Whoa.
Page 3, panel 1. Whoa. Paul runs away. Green is picking himself up off the ground. Diana looks too...
Green, you all right?
Yeah, fine. Just get him.
Panel 2, small panel of close-up on Diana's eyes. They seem to be slit like that of a predatory cat. That's racist.
What?
Said
With
predatory
pleasure.
cat. I'm starting to think she has feline superpowers.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to think it's because she's slightly Asian.
Yes.
Well.
They'd be split the other way.
There we go.
Oh. Canceled. No.
Who's reading Diana?
With pleasure.
Fong is seen running, and again, Fong runs down the street, pushing away onlookers. Fong run down to the street. The sentence I would write. Fong rolls over of the hood of a car that came out of an alley. The driver of the car. That's a very passive way to state a very active sentence. The driver of the car can be seen, passive. Can be seen yelling out at Fong, head out of the window with his fist raised. Fong runs down the alley. The car almost ran him over from behind him. Page 6. Scared and frightened, Fong slams the door behind him. Go, Larry.
All right.
Get the gun.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks. Get the gun. The Americans are coming. There you go.
The Americans are coming.
Yeah, Fong is referring to 5 other Vietnamese men, so the scene is shot from his point of view. Okay. All armed with one armed with an AK rifle. Okay.
So they're all sharing an AK rifle?
What are the others armed with?
They all have arms.
They all have a gun. Okay, yeah. We got it. Yeah.
All armed with one arm.
Has a single AK rifle.
Yeah. Foreground should be one of the men, VC number 1, looking upset. He is talking back to Fong with the rest of the men in the background. They are in a large warehouse with various weapons and various...
I thought they were in a truck.
What?
Weren't they just in a truck? How did they get to a
Fong
warehouse?
runs down the alley. The car almost ran up behind him. Scared and frightened, Fong slams the door behind him. Fong is referring to 5 of the Vietnamese men, so the men is cut, from his point of view, all armed with... It does seem like there's a car, right?
Well, there was a car, and then he slams the door. I thought he got into the truck and slammed the truck door.
No, instead he closed himself in with these people. Fong with the rest of the men in the background. They are in a large warehouse.
This is my draft.
Yeah, with various weapons and various NVA, North Vietnamese, and VC paraphernalia. Yeah. In a window should be the shadow of what appears to be a woman, Diana, peering inside. Eyes are white. And the only thing that break the dark figure like that of a Ditko Backman look.
Maybe.
I hope there to be a woman with tits like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if her tits are so big, how could she get that close to the window?
There you go.
Oh.
Hey.
His boobs are magic jawed.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Cartoon boobs.
Wow.
VC
Squishy.
number 1.
Anyway,
John.
Still don't tell anyone the N-word, though. So that makes me half better than that.
John. Larry.
Say again?
All right, I'll read it. You were followed, you idiot.
Oh, no. Larry is the...
Larry's the one who speaks Vietnamese.
I'm the only... I guess I'm only a Vietnamese
Page
guy.
4, panel 1. Back to the outside. The shot is of a window on the roof of the warehouse. The dam. One Diana... The black silhouetted figure
I misspelled that one.
Okay. She is now absent from where she last was. The window now ajar.
I thought it was a window.
I thought it was a window, exactly.
Oh.
One VC, number 5, standing in the background, stands in the mid-shot. Background of the shadow with the same white eyes in the background.
I am sorry, the American.
Close up. 2 arms from out of the darkness wrap around him with a silent expression of terror upon his face.
Oh.
Go for it, Larry.
Yeah. I could make a bunch of noises that sound Asian, but then you get the stream canceled. Racist, so there's a silence. You jeopardize our entire operation. There you go.
Panel 4, side shot. Another man, VC number 4, is pulled into the darkness, or to the extent of the panel, hand over his mouth. He drops his gun. SFX for the gun dropping. Clink, clack. Fong.
How could I have known?
Indeed, Fong. How could you have? Close up on the surprised faces of VC1 and Fong.
What's that?
Page 5. Panel 1, VC number 2 and 3 shoot upwards, right side of the panel. Speech bubble from the left side. There, shoot to them. VC number 2 is kneeling down to find the body. VC number 4 has been shot by his own compatriots.
It's been. However, that. Where's Wang? Yeah.
VC number 3 is hit in the head with the wrench thrown from out of panel. Punk. Foreground towards the viewer is number 3 down on his knees, gun drop aside. Number 2, Ahmed, is standing mid-ground behind him with the shadowy figures. Jumps out to a flat metal table behind him.
Come on! Sorry. I had.
Out of the fray.
Oh god, leave behind you. What?
VC number 2 is now known as Lee, is struck in the face by a kick as he turns around.
What?
There we go. All right.
All right. Yeah.
So
Cool.
Thanks for coming on, Simply Moon.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yes.
Dakota.
Yes.
All right. So we had some things. We definitely had some boobs.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
There were some VC in the background.
Yeah.
I know that because the script was very specific about them being mostly in the background, and things happened to them off screen. There were wrenches and stuff and
Yes.
things, and
Very Batman Begins-ish.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given that the implication was that the boobs were the Batman.
yes,
In
yes.
a way.
Batman, I'm liking this new direction you're going in.
Yes.
All right, that's just what we had. Larry, what do you think?
The
Hold up.
yeah.
I'll let you come
go
back.
go ahead. I'll say what I'll
All
clarify
right, actually,
things
you
if
were
asked.
here at the beginning. What do you want to say? Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, because I'll clarify things if asked. If you want to clarify anything, if you have any questions.
All right, fair enough.
Oh,
With
All right,
that's
Larry.
what I was gonna say.
All right, Larry, what do you think?
Well, we got some interesting Vietnamese action, with
Yes.
some boobs.
That is yes.
Boobs from a reporter. She's obviously a reporter because that's the way reporters dress. And no, I mean it's got some decent setup and framework and stuff like that. It just needs a little, TLC, clean it up.
Most of this is done like while I'm working, so
I
it's
understand.
like side eye.
Oh yeah.
Like this looks like it makes sense enough at the moment,
Oh, I
just
completely
enough.
understand.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Danny.
It cuts to the chase. There is a chase. We have no idea why there's a chase, aside from the fact that the additional caption says it's in Saigon.
Mhm.
And Tit Batman does stuff. Bat Tits does stuff.
There we go.
And the DC are portrayed in a rather sympathetic light, which is always nice to see, with a solid emotional reaction to a death. There was a literal con moment.
Oh, yes.
So I'm behind that. We all had fun with that.
There we go. John.
Yeah, it was definitely a start to something. It was a rather interesting. I think any story that starts by throwing you right into the action pretty early on, I think is a pretty good way to start things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to grab reader attention. I mean, we get boobs in action in like page 1, so I mean, you got pretty much, we know what we're gonna get from this story from page 1, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So when I first I know I was on here a while back, and it never got past the it was only the about characters, and we never really went to that draft. I technically threw out most of that draft and said to myself, nothing is happening in this draft. It's just nothing but setup and I rather would spend this time trying to proactively give the reader something
A
to
wise
actually
decision.
see.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yes,
I
yeah.
can
yes.
explain that later, save it for an issue 2, or just to have it referred to, or it doesn't need to be like this is this big setup. You like the reader will understand what's going on just by osmosis with it, or even just going, "Hey, this is it," and I'll get to it another time. I haven't worked out everything, but yeah.
That is a good way to go about it. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think we all really quite liked that happened.
The reason why I did some of the it was a little bit weird with some of the setting where I didn't want to tell it like a story. A lot of it was like, okay, this is what I kind of what the artist to do. I'd rather more so talk with the artists to like give them more of an idea, and this be loose ideas to give them like, here's the general idea, here's the kind of panel composition I want from it, and to try
I'm
to
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and go into constructives.
Mhm.
One, I think you need a more authoritative voice. I noticed, and I pointed this out in John's early work. Uh, it's kind of wishy-washy. It's kind of this could be in the panel or maybe not. Like you need to say what's in the panel and what's not. It's your vision. You got to share
Okay.
it, and don't act like somehow your opinion is less important. You're
Okay.
the one telling me this story. Well, what is happening? So, to take command of your own story. Also,
Guy
avoid the
right there.
passive voice.
Sorry.
And as you avoid the passive voice, your writing will improve not only because you'll be avoiding it, but also you'll be deciding things. Like instead of a wrench is thrown, well, who's throwing it? It'll give you more of an idea of where the action is in the scene and where that maybe we need to see the person throwing it or maybe not. Like it's
Kind of like placement of sorts.
right. Yeah. So I think just switching away from passive voice will help.
Okay.
In terms of the conflict, all right. So you gave us a character, you gave us a conflict. That's cool. I'm not. There's not an emotional component, I don't think, between the reporter and whatever she's running down or the VC or whatnot. Like,
unless she's got a Pepsi.
right. Yeah.
We really wanted that Pepsi, so she
Yeah.
murdered all the VC.
Exactly. So you haven't given us that yet. Like, in the movie, the 80s masterpiece, Commando, we understand that Arnold Schwarzenegger is out to save his daughter. And that's why he has to mow down the 100 people in the compound because his daughter has been kidnapped. But here, we do not understand why the reporter is necessarily mowing through the VC other than VC are bad, which goes back to Minotaur's giving John, like, well, why is Julie investigating? I understand Nazis are bad, but, like, I want, if you can make that conflict more personified and more relatable and more emotionally engaging, you will have more audience engagement.
I see. Give them a sort of reason why they would be in this conflict instead of here's the conflict.
Right.
Yeah, that was my note. There was just not really an obvious connection between the woman and whatever the BC and the Vietnamese were doing. And you had time for it. You had a lot of silent panels.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if this is a noir, then that's fine too. But you still need to at least have that connection.
Okay, I see. Maybe a thought come to my head. Maybe he's carrying like a briefcase, and maybe Green mentions it.
We need that briefcase
to
so we can get the American plans and save Vietnam from this white invasion. I don't care.
Well, 1969 is the Tet Offensive year.
Then you could, if it's related to that, then your caption should say like 2 months, or 60 days before the Tet Offensive.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
No one would possibly attack Saigon during Tet.
There you go.
Yeah,
all right.
Like, say so, because the reader doesn't even see your notes.
Right.
Only the illustrator sees your notes.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other constructives?
I had one comment to add, and that was about the dual language. Unless you're planning of having your letterer do it in both Vietnamese and English, pick one.
Well, you should write
Okay.
it in English within brackets with a little note
Right.
translated from Vietnamese. Yeah.
Right. That's where I was going with that. You don't
Yeah.
need to put it in Vietnamese unless you don't want it translated, but if you do, you can put it in English and then with a little note, and then you could even give a note to your letterer saying, "Hey, use a different font for this speech. You know, anything in brackets like this, use a different font to denote that they're speaking in Vietnamese."
Okay. I was kind of thinking along those terms of what it was, but I should have noted it down for it. But I can understand something like that.
Yeah, like the only time you really would do that, and I don't even do it when I write screenplays, I just write it in English and say it's subtitled from the original language or the original language, comma, subtitled. Because there's no, like some schools in screenwriting will actually do it in both. They'll write out the Spanish and they'll write out the English or whatever. To me personally, I find that's kind of ridiculous. And also, if you're using Google Translate, that's not necessarily going to translate well. Native speakers of that are going to know that
it's not correct at all.
Right,
You
and
get
then
the,
that may end up turning them off rather than just saying, hey, writing it in English and saying it's translated from.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you know
also-
somebody that speaks the native language that's willing to help you with that. But again,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I can understand something like that.
Yeah.
That was really my only note besides what everybody else said. You know.
All right.
That was...
All right. Any other notes? We ready to sign out for the evening? All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me on.
Yeah.
I'll definitely
Sure.
take my notes here. I've written
You're
down
welcome
and
anytime, man.
work on them over the weekend when I'm not working.
All
But
right.
thank you.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Hey.
Bye.